Hello?
Hello, is this Jay?
Yes.
Hey Jay, it's Tony calling from Sullivan Magazine. How you doing?
Hi, Tony. How are you?
Not too bad. You used to be on City Council before.
Yeah.
How long were you on City Council?
Actually, 6 terms on council, and then four terms on the school, or 4 terms on the school board before council.
Why did you switch from council, being interested in running on council, to being a school trustee?
Well, I'll tell you. Here's the quick and dirty. I became a trustee in '76, just when I was 26 years of age. I was 9 years on the board, 4 terms, and then I ran for council, and I was 18 years on council, like 6 terms.
Yeah.
I got very busy. I got into international consulting, and I was doing a lot of traveling.
Okay.
And burning the candles at both ends of the stick.
Yeah.
And so in '03, I decided that I was too busy to devote the kind of time, and you need a lot of time, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get out of things completely, and I enjoyed the school board before I was on council, so I went back to the board. It's not near as onerous as council, but it still gives you that, that contribution feeling.
Okay. As an international consultant, what does that mean?
Well, what I've done for the last decade, Tony, is help businesses in Northern Ontario with their exporting.
Okay.
So I help businesses export to worldwide, globally.
Okay. And what was your educational background to assist you in developing into that career path?
Well, I've had a varied career. I mean, I'm one of these guys that kind of reinvents himself every decade. My background is a Bachelor of Mathematics and Economics from Waterloo.
Okay.
A few haircuts ago, but I spent some time on Bay Street, and I got a solid financial background, and then I spent some time in senior roles with Ontario Northland, treasurer and senior planning officer, and that kind of thing. So right. I've had a very varied background. When I was with Ontario Northland Treasurer, the president at the time wanted to develop an international consulting division, and he chose me to do it. And so that's when I got the international bite, and I spent about 6 or 7 years doing that. Yeah. And then I went back and finished my career with Ontario Northland, and then this opportunity came along in 2001. The Chamber, actually, FedNor, through the Chamber, was they were advertising for a pilot program to develop exports, and they wanted a guy to do it in the North Bay region and then spread it to Northern Ontario. Right. So that's what I did. I did the 5-year contract with the Chamber, and then a few more contracts with FedNor, and eventually morphed it into my own business.
Very interesting. I don't think that everybody in North Bay understands what exactly a school trustee does.
No, but I'll tell you, in a nutshell, my perspective on a true school trustee is we are essentially the liaison, the public liaison between the system, the administrative system, the educational system, and the public.
Okay.
Okay, so we, in a lot of cases, we're the interface, and that's why, when we each school district has their own peculiar idiosyncrasies. Therefore, that's why they have 72 districts, and we're there to look after the public primarily when if the public needs advocacy, or if there's a problem, that's our role. We help the public with the system.
Okay, interesting.
And therefore, it's very important that that you have that kind of interface for the public at a local level.
Yeah.
I think anyway, and it's the same thing as council. Council's the interface between the public and the city administration. Only it's a much broader thing. And when I was on council, I dealt with everything from soup to nuts. Yep. The education is very focused. It's a focused on education, obviously.
Right. So, do school board trustees have have any decision-making power, or do they shape school board policy or anything like that?
Well, very much so. It's getting the powers are getting more and more prescriptive by the Ontario government in terms of the broad powers, in terms of money allocation. We don't have taxation powers anymore, so that takes a lot of the control out of our hands and places it in the provincial government's hands. So over the years, I mean, it's a lot different from when I first became a trustee, when we had taxation powers.
Right.
But nevertheless, there are a lot of decisions that are made that are localized to the district, and that's where the trustees have their input, and that's where they tailor the system to make. When I say local, I mean regional, essentially.
Right. Now, it seems that this race for school board trustee gets almost zero coverage from the media. Like, why do you suppose that is?
Well, it's a much lower profile, Tony. Council deals with the day-to-day lives of people. I've got a traffic light out. I've got a big pothole at the end of my my driveway. It's banging up my car. Its impact is immediate and it's broad, and the trustee, it's a much narrower field. It deals with education only, and in terms of education, we have professional staff that really deals with a lot of the problems. So it's a much narrower field. So there isn't as much public interest.
Yeah. Now, what's your attitude as to whether or not there should even be separate school boards for the Catholic, for the French, for the public, however many there are? Like, do you think that it should be amalgamated?
Well, when I started out as a trustee, there were two boards, the public board and the separate board. Now there's 4 boards, and I tend to think we're going the wrong way. I would like to see consolidation of school boards, and I would like to see. Now there is a need, obviously, a real need for the separate school system because of their specific educational approach, and I don't deny that. But I think that and the French component, I think, can be handled under one board system. And the problem here's the problem I see, Tony, is that we have less and less resources as time goes on. And so it becomes very, very, that's kind of a misallocation of resources if we have 4 separate systems and we have 4 different, 4 facilities, 4 administrative units.
Yeah.
I would like to see the one administrative unit with the 4 components, so that wouldn't take away from the various educational needs, the separate, the French. They would be there, but they would be there in one system, and the economies would be realized because we're getting scarcer and scarcer resources, and it's the same thing in healthcare.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't have the money to propagate different systems.
Do you think there'll ever be the political will in Ontario to streamline this system?
I don't know. Other jurisdictions have taken the bull by the horns because of that scarcity of resources and done that.
Yeah.
And that's a decision of the population, and I leave that solely to the population. But I think long term, I think it's in the long term's best interest. I think there'll be more money flow towards education of the kids.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. And so long term, I'm very much a proponent, but I'm respectful of the 4 different boards and the needs of the 4 different boards.
Right. Now, obviously, being a public contributor has been an important part of your life. You had an interesting and varied career, but you always have this element of either being on city council or being a school trustee.
Right.
Do you regard it as a duty to have a public life like this, or?
It's funny thing you mentioned that. I thought about that the other day. It's almost like it's become a part of me. it's become a part of my being that I feel good if I can contribute. And the reason, one of the prime reasons I'm in the public, I really enjoyed school. I enjoyed doing things for kids and seeing kids progress. So, and in my particular system, it fits my lifestyle because of the busyness of what I do and the traveling and whatnot. It's a good fit. It's a good fit. There are days, I mean, even this time, a lot of people thought I was going to run for council, and I had pangs, but the bottom line is you have to do what's right for you and what's right for the people. And if you don't have the adequate time, then that's a disservice. So
Exactly. Are there any interesting issues on the horizon that face the public school board?
Two very acute issues in my mind. One of the big issues is what we have to have a long-term plan for the French programming. I mean, I was on the board when we created the first elementary school, O'Brien School, and it was something like 30 or 40 students. Now we're up to 500, in excess of 500 in the program. And, we just made a move to create Alliance, and Alliance already has a portable for this year. So we've got to come to grips with having a long-term program for our French programming. That's first and foremost. The other thing I would like to see is, I think it's time that the North Bay area had a new elementary school. We've lost Pinewood, and we've lost Laurentian recently, and I would like one of my strong platforms to be reelected is to look at a new facility in North Bay. Other areas of our school system. For example, Magwin, we're building a new high school. In Parish Sound, we're building a new elementary school. When I was chair back in 2005, we built a new elementary school in the West Nipissing area. So I think it's North Bay's time. If you look at that from a balanced geographical approach, and I think it's you have to replenish your facilities every once in a while. There's a number of tired schools in North Bay, and I think we can consolidate schools and modernize at the same time.
Nice. Okay. Well, Jay, thank you so much for your time, and good luck on Monday.
Okay.
I'm sure
Thank you, Tony.
We'll return you to your role. And nice talking to you.
Good to talk to you too, Tony. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.